Hi guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at another speech, but this time I want to show you how to combine logos and pathos in your speech and in one body point so that the audience is convinced about the truth and the facts about what you're saying, but so that they'll also understand the emotional impact. And this is very important for any speech, but especially for the persuasive speech where you're trying to convince people to change. And people need to be moved by logic as well as emotion if you want to change their minds. So even though this is relevant for every type of speech, you want to ensure that if you're doing a persuasive speech, you especially make sure that you use the logos and you use pathos. And of course, ethos, because if you're not a credible speaker, nobody wants to listen to you. And in addition to that, I'm going to first walk you through an introduction just to show you how easy, I know I said easy, how easy it is to just subtly bring all the points in, subtly bring together the 5 parts of the introduction. And I want you to see practically how to do it. So I hope this will help. So join me now as we look further at another speech. And this one also is coming from The Art of Public Speaking, the Instructor's Manual. Okay, so we're going to be looking at how to combine logos and pathos, and it will also help you with your problem effect solution speech. Okay, so here's the speech. Are you at least 17 years old? Do you weigh more than 110 pounds? Do you consider yourself fairly healthy? If you answered yes to all of these questions, you should be donating blood every 2 months. In my survey of the class, I found that only 50% of you have ever donated blood, and that 1 out of 13 of you donate on a regular basis. The lack of participation of eligible donors is a serious problem that requires immediate action. Through extensive research and 2 years of faithfully donating blood, I have come to realize the magnitude of this problem and just how easy the solution can be. That's why today I would like to show you, 1, why blood donors are in such desperate need. 2, I'll show you the effects of not donating. And 3, I'll show you some easy solutions to encourage you to take action to combat this need. Now, you're not going to say 1, 2, and 3, but I said it just for emphasis to show you that those are the 3 things that are going to be spoken about in the body of the speech. Okay, let's first take a look at the overwhelming need for blood donors. So what you should have noticed were the 5 parts of the speech introduction. It was a very brief attention grabber, and I usually prefer more, but they used an effective strategy where they used questions, 3 questions. You don't want to go over 3 questions. Now, I know Simon Sinek did about 8 and it worked well, but in general, we usually say stick to 3. If you're going to be giving us 5, 6, 7, or 8 questions, they better be good questions, and they need to really be, talking about different things. So you're coming at us from different angles, and you're really causing us to think. But don't just make them empty questions, right? So try to stick to 3 questions. I think up to 5 could work. I heard a student this week, Jaquela, I'm talking about you. She did a few, and later on when another classmate said, maybe you could shorten them, I thought, yeah, I guess you could. But I kind of felt the impact was okay, but on closer scrutiny, I thought, yeah, cut out some. So I don't want to say only stick to 3. So test it on somebody else. I would say don't go beyond 5 questions, especially if that's all your introduction is going to be. But if you need to stick to less than a minute for your attention grabber, then you want to be careful to not just be stringing along questions. Every question must count. Now, the first thing that the speaker does is they announce their topic sentence. The lack of participation of eligible blood donors, that's the topic, poses a threat, that's the opinion, to the lives of many Americans. That's the controlling idea. Remember, your topic sentence must have the topic, your opinion, and you want to control the idea also. Because this is not just talking about blood donors around the world, and you're not just talking about the blood donors in your classroom. You're talking about, in this case, the person was talking about the lives of many Americans. So they're narrowing it down to people in the United States. And that's what your topic sentence needs to do. Give us the topic, give us your opinion, and there has to be some kind of controlling idea so we know the parameters of what you're speaking, okay? Sometimes the controlling idea may just be content where you're telling us who you're talking about, or maybe you're just narrowing it down to reasons. Like if the person had said, the lack of participation of eligible blood donors poses a threat for many reasons. That also is a controlling idea because you're talking about some specific reasons that you're going to give later in the body of the paragraph. So always keep the controlling idea in mind also. And in this case, the controlling idea is the lives of many Americans. Now, the first sentence is a clear topic sentence, and then they say, according to the American Red Cross web pages, where I obtained an enormous amount of information, in the United States alone, someone undergoes a blood transfusion once every 3 seconds, which amounts to 3,000 gallons of blood every hour, day and night. People who benefit from donations range from cancer patients to organ transplant patients to surgical patients. Even premature infants and trauma victims benefit from donations. The need for blood never takes a vacation, and neither should donors. Now, they've given you facts, and you'll notice that the facts were not obvious or known facts. This is an idea of novelty, and this is also an idea of surprising information, because I certainly didn't know that, and the average person is not thinking about how much blood donation is needed. But if you're doing a persuasive speech, especially, and you're trying to change minds, then you have to tell people information that will let them stop and think. Now that was logos. Now let's look at a little bit of pathos. The person says, let me tell you about Brooke, a 3-year-old girl with long curly blonde hair and bright blue eyes. And I imagine that when you're saying this, you have to say it with enough expression, because what they're trying to do now is work on your emotions. They want you to think about Brooke. She's 3 years old. She has curly blonde hair. She has bright blue eyes. They didn't just say, let me tell you about Brooke, but they described her. And I imagine that the voice and the tonality would have given you food for thought. Brooke is a victim of cancer. Not Brooke has cancer, but a victim. So already they're tugging at the heartstrings. Brooke is a victim of cancer and had major surgery to remove a large tumor in her abdomen. Now you're thinking, oh my God, 3-year-old Brooke, she's been through that already. She has spent approximately half of her life in the hospital receiving chemotherapy and other treatments for infections that resulted from a decrease in her white blood cell count after each session. Now, seriously, guys, don't you feel sorry for Brooke? Yes. And that's what the emotional appeal does. You're not just giving factual information, but you're now saying, here's a real person. I want to massage your emotions. Then she goes on to say, according to Texas Children's Hospital, Brooke's treatment will require blood products with a replacement value of 508 units of blood, of which only 250 units have been replaced. She still needs more than 250 units of blood to continue her treatment. If she doesn't receive this blood, she will not live to attend kindergarten, to go to the prom in high school, or to get married. Luxuries we all too often take for granted. Emotional appeal. So as we can see, first the person started with logos. They gave us the facts. Then they went to pathos. And they pulled at our heartstrings by telling us about Brooke. And they described her and they told us that she was a victim. And we're feeling sorry for her because you know what? This is hard for any 3-year-old. But if maybe they had just told you about another adult, maybe you'd say, oh, well, life's hard. But no, we're learning about a 3-year-old. She's just had 3 years of her life and it's about to be taken away from her. Now we begin to care. And then in the next paragraph, they still kept a little bit more about Brooke there. They gave us logos again about the units of blood, but then they combined it with Brooke. So now we're totally feeling it for Brooke. And that's what your speeches need to do also. Combine logos and put it with pathos. And in a previous video, I gave you some examples of what could work for pathos. It doesn't have to be a story, but stories tend to work very well. It can just be an analogy. It can be a visual where it's very dramatic. But when you write your speech, you want to look back at it and ask yourself, which part has emotional appeal? And which part is just giving me logic, information, facts? And then find a way for each point to combine both logos and pathos. So I hope this helps, and I hope you can see more clearly how you can combine both appeals, emotional appeal and logical appeal in your oral presentation. Okay, so I hope that helps, guys. And I hope some light bulbs went off as you listened. And hopefully I'm going to be listening to some really yummy speeches next week. So until I see you in the next video, bye for now.